If you drive for food delivery apps, let's say Uber Eats, DoorDash, and Postmates, really some of the biggest food delivery apps out there, how do you accept your orders to make the most money? Do you do anything different when accepting orders on different apps? Well, if you don't, you should. That's why in this video, after driving for all of those apps, I want to go over specifically order requests and how I accept these orders from each respective platform. So not only can you make the most money possible, but you don't waste your time when you're out there driving. Welcome to the channel. My name is Mike. On this channel, I help you with the gig economy, your side hustle, your full-time hustle, making money and generating multiple revenue streams. So if you are new here, consider subscribing. And make sure to get the very best accessories for your side hustle or your full-time hustle this year. Check out my Amazon storefront, that linked down below. So again, I've driven on all three of these platforms for years in different marketplaces, collectively with thousands of trips between all of these platforms. And you really do need to be looking at different things. You can't treat these apps as all the same when it comes to strategy here. Again, so you can actually make the most money regardless of what app you're driving on. So let's look at three of these. I'm going to show you some order examples. Let's start with Postmates here and exactly what I'm looking for, and then we'll compare across all of these apps. So number one, let's take a look at Postmates here. Let's check out this order request here. So this is the order request screen on Postmates. So we're looking at our current location, which is indicated by the blue dot. And of course, we're going to see the surrounding marketplace. At the time, this was in San Diego, California. So what order should you be really looking at things when it comes to Postmates? So for all three of these, I'm going to look at different criteria. Number one, of course, obviously being paid. That's very important. Really the number one, of course. Number two, any bonuses, if there even is bonus pay with these. Number three, the distance, and that does vary quite a bit here as far as the distance, the miles and or the route. And then lastly, any info, any certain things that we should be looking at, any other details on the order, or let's say the restaurant pickup location. Okay, so turning our attention back to this Postmates order here. So we can see it's from Luna Grill. And again, our current location indicated by the blue dot here. So let's look at number one, the pay. Now, the thing with Postmates is you can't see the estimated pay on this order here. It's unfortunate. It's really the only platform that doesn't show you the expected earnings. It's kind of a pain here. So I have nothing to go on. I can't see how much am I going to make. So we'll look at bonus pay, number two. Now, in my experience, let me know in the comments if you feel the same way. But whenever I drive on Postmates, I don't see a ton of bonuses. Really, it's pretty rare. I don't see any bonuses for whatever reason. Let me know. But on this order, we do see a bonus. It is, again, more rare. A $4 bonus listed here. Okay, so nextly, we'll look at the distance here. It's another big thing that I look at. And this is all happening in real time. I'm doing this all quickly in my head whenever I'm looking at the order request. But I mean, you'll get used to it once you get more and more orders here. But the distance, you see a straight line. Now, I mean, obviously we're not driving that. It's just a straight line. So it's another thing with Postmates. You don't get any route prediction as far as, where might you be driving, especially if you're unfamiliar with your marketplace. That could be helpful. But other apps are going to show you that. And in addition to that, we don't even see the miles. We can't say, hey, is this 2.8 miles? Is this 1.6 miles? We don't get any of that info either. So lastly, any other info as far as what I would look at for a prospective order here? Not much. I mean, we're not given much info on the Postmates screen. One thing I would do is Postmates does let you zoom in. So for whatever reason, if you have questions on the pickup location, if you want to see is it in a plaza, or especially important if you're unfamiliar with the market segment that you're driving in, is zooming in to see if it's in a mall, an actual food court, because then you got to park, then you got to go inside that mall. It takes more time. So that's one good thing about Postmates. I can zoom in, but not much else provided on the Postmates app. Now on this order on Postmates, I actually accepted this one. And honestly, one of the main reasons was that bonus pay. We had that $4 bonus pay. I mean, in my experience driving on Postmates, it's really coming down to knowing your marketplace because, again, I can't see the routes. There's no miles here. So I really have to estimate. And again, I got to know my marketplace. Is this going to be a far drive or not? And then not knowing the pay. I mean, yes, there's bonuses here. And honestly, that is really the only time I would recommend driving for Postmates. So now let's look at a prospective Uber Eats order and go over what I look for on that platform. So let's check out this order here. It's $15.45. And again, I'm gonna run down the thresholds that we're looking at. Again, this happens pretty quickly in real time. Depending on the platform, you may have 15 seconds to accept the order. You may have 45 seconds, again, depending on the platform. So here, $15.45 really are threshold number one that I'm looking at here. I would always recommend, if you're driving on Uber Eats, and we'll see this on DoorDash, is to have a minimum payout threshold. Really the minimum that you'll take as far as pay, because I mean, it doesn't even matter the miles. Let's say the payout was $3.50 or $4. It just doesn't make sense for my time. Again, kind of regardless of the miles here. But anyway, this one is $15.45. Okay, that's number one. Any bonus pay? Well, we can't really see anything here. Now on Uber Eats, there's going to be boost pay, which is a multiplier. If you're picking up in a busy zone, it'll multiply right your earnings. Could be 1.3, 1.4 times your earnings. Another bonus incentive, it could be surge pay. That is a flat dollar bonus. So again, if I pick up in a busy zone, I might get an extra $2, $1 in addition to the pay. That is surge pay. And then there's some other streak bonuses or consecutive trip bonuses. But regardless, I can't see anything as far as confirming. I can't see if there's any pay or bonus pay rather that's confirmed on the actual order request screen. I mean, one thing about that, if you are picking up and you can see, you'll see this on your Uber Eats driver app, you'll see if it's actually busy in the market segment. There's different colors indicating boost or surge pay. So as long as the pickup is in that general area, then yes, generally you should get that boost pay or the bonus pay. Okay, nextly, the distance here. I mean, this is the big power tip. This is really one of the reasons why you would want to drive on Uber Eats, or as we'll see, DoorDash versus Postmates. This is frankly, it's much needed to see the actual miles here, because you got to make sense of how much am I getting paid for the actual miles driven. It's something that I call the dollars to mile ratio. It's mental math. I do it quickly in my head. I just take obviously the payout divided by the quoted miles. So as we can see here, 4.2 miles for this route. Any other info or last threshold here, again, something that I'm considering on the order request screen. I'm looking at, yes, the restaurant. We can see here it's Patron Mexican Grill. I would just take that into consideration if I've had problems with that restaurant in the past. This one, we can also see it's a stacked order. So it's 2 assignments for 1 driver. You'll get that sometimes really on every platform. And for Uber Eats, we can see that indicated by the number 2. It says a delivery 2, of course, that is a stacked order, versus it would just say delivery, of course, if it was 1 order. The other things that I look at generally for Uber Eats, and I'll do this on most other apps as well, but I'll look at the positioning. Where is it starting, of course, but really, almost more importantly, where is it ending? Is it finishing in a busy zone? Is it finishing further away from bonus zones? If I know on Uber Eats that certain zones in my market segment have that boost pay, or traditionally have that surge pay, or they could have both, if it takes me further away, more to a empty zone, I guess, or a slower zone of my marketplace, that is something that I would consider as well. If it's pulling me, let's say, 10 minutes away from downtown or the busy areas, then I'm thinking in my head, okay, whenever I finish this delivery and it really puts me back online looking for another order, then I most likely know, okay, that next trip, it's gonna be in a slower zone and it's gonna be in a zone without bonus pay. Okay, so that is Postmates and that is Uber Eats, really what I think of whenever I'm driving, when I'm online and I'm getting prospective orders. So let's take a look at DoorDash. Maybe it's just me, but I find that just the layout of DoorDash, it kind of draws my eye to the restaurant first, just because the restaurant is labeled up top there. So we can see Zara's, but I mean, again, pay is a big thing I'm looking at as well. So this one at $12.50 for the order. Again, is there any bonus pay? So a per delivery bonus on a DoorDash, that's called peak pay. So if I'm driving in a certain market segment, because DoorDash is actually different. It's going to break up your entire really market into smaller segments. So I need to drive in a certain segment during a certain time of the day. And based on what DoorDash offers for bonus pay, I'll get a peak pay bonus on that delivery. But again, I can't see it in the actual order request screen. So that's going to be up to you. It's going to be up to you to say, okay, when is the peak pay being offered? Now you'll see this in the promos tab on your Dasher home screen. So you'll be able to schedule shifts, and I would schedule shifts with peak pay because again, if there's good bonus pay, that may go pretty quickly and other drivers may grab those shifts, but I'll know ahead of time. I'll know, okay, from 8 p.m. until 10 p.m., whatever it is, I'll get an extra $2 on every single order in that time window. So for instance, if we assumed that this one was picked up during that time window, then of course we would get that bonus. And then moving on, looking to distance here, it's also very important. I mean, this is really why I would either drive for Uber Eats, number one, or I would drive for DoorDash, number one. Whichever one's busier in your marketplace, I would do the market research. I would sign up for both and I would drive for both and really find which is the best really paying in my marketplace. But you need to see the miles because the miles, in essence, that's your expenses. So this one, $12.50, it's 5 miles. So again, there comes the mental math. There comes our dollars to mile ratio to make sense of, am I getting paid enough for those miles that I'm putting on my vehicle? I would say a minimum payout per mile of $1.20. That's kind of the floor that I look for. But I mean, of course, ideally I want a $1.50 payout per mile, or ideally the $2+ range payout per mile for these orders. And then lastly, any other info that I'm looking at here, again, I do look at the restaurant if I haven't looked at it already, just to find out, okay, is it a fast food restaurant? Is it maybe a pizza place or another restaurant that's typically not in their game? Maybe they've had me wait 10 or 15 minutes before. I would take note of that. I wouldn't just look at the pay and the miles and make that decision really quickly. I understand you have a timer here, but take that into consideration, the restaurant. And again, even that route that we talked about with Uber Eats here, where is it taking me? This one is taking me further away from downtown here in Pittsburgh. That's something that's pretty important to consider. So all of that happens pretty quickly in about 15 to 45 seconds. Now, if you have a stacked order, again, it's 2 assignments for 1 driver, then these apps will give you more time. I believe, let's say 60 seconds on a DoorDash, even on Uber Eats, they'll give you more time to make that decision. I'm also thinking about things as far as which has been busier that week, maybe that last month or so, which ones are better during the afternoon, the evening, and even the tips. As far as the DoorDash platform with customers tipping ahead of time before that delivery has been made, that's pretty important, versus Uber Eats and Postmates. Both of those platforms, those customers are typically tipping after the delivery's been made. So I'm curious now, let me know down below in the comments, do you consider anything else? Maybe the same, more of one thing, less, or again, something that I didn't even mention here as far as which orders you accept to get the most money possible. Let me know down below in the comments, and if you got value in this video, definitely drop me a like, and you can also click or tap the screen here for my most recent video, as well as a video recommended for you, and I'll see you in the next one.